gone, you may be tempted to believe. Our founder also contributed. You hounded a political party you formed, you hounded it in government up to opposition, and the opposition, you are still hounding it. I mean, it's amazing with all the mess that is created by this woman, Jean Mensah. The former president is saying that she did an excellent job. He's the only person in this country who has seen something excellent about this president except the NPP. I mean, with all the mess that is being created, with the mess that is stirring us. So sometimes you find it extremely difficult to make a positive case in defense of the former president. To be very honest with you, civil society groups, even the Christian Council themselves have pointed out to the woman that the way she's going about things are not right. Yet you find our founder, hey, he sees nothing wrong with what the woman is doing, virtually approving and giving credit to that mess that is created by this woman. Ayawasu is still out there. The founder sees nothing wrong with that. So sometimes I wonder whether indeed he has something good for this part. To be very honest, if you observe, I have never been very derogatory about him, and I want to choose my words very, very carefully. It hurts some of us when he engages in things like that. I am a victim of the excesses of the June 4th. And I have said it. My father's stores were burnt in the Tamale market. My mother's, yet I chose to be in NDC. And I was inspired by him, regardless my personal and family hate. So when we followed and believed that, look, regardless the excesses of the June 4th, regardless the excesses that some of us have been victims, regardless, yet still, I still chose the NDC founded by him. And the principles, ideologies he stood for, I still chose that. So when he begins to do the things he does recently, you ask yourself whether it's worth it, to be very honest with you. And I really think that it is so hateful when you do this. What again do you need from the NDC? It's the party you founded. It's the party that on which ticket you were elected as president 2 times. Why would you keep on hounding that party? Everybody, and I was flabbergasted to have read that our founder, and this says that the woman is a woman of integrity and that she's implementing things right, and some people are not happy. For God's sake, what happened in Ayawasu? That is what is implementing right. What is happening? What happens in the creation of the regions? Is that how the elections were conducted? To which her outfit themselves admitted that there were some wrongs. What is described as an excellent job the woman is engaged in? The mess that is being created. Blatant disregard to rule of law, to the extent that you went to parliament and the parliament itself approved an amount of money that you should use to discharge something, and you decided to do something. I mean, does it even make sense to the founder that the Ghana Statistical Service themselves projected that the possible number of young people who have reached the age of 18 was 1.7 million. Yet this woman, their projection initial was 300,000. 300,000. And then from the 300,000, they moved to 500,000. From 500,000 to 700,000, far, far below even what is projected by a state institution. Yet our founder says, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. The woman is doing an excellent. Perhaps, maybe all of us are not reasoning well, and only he reasons well, and only he sees how the woman is doing well. I think that, frankly speaking, it's extremely hateful. And the NDC is a political party that many of us young people are mortgaging our future in that party because we believed that the party is the only party. And I have said, look, my inspiration to join the NDC was done by the founder. Trust me, regardless, my father was a CPP man. My father didn't like NDC because of what happened in the Tamale market. But I chose, against all odds, I chose that my mother's side are strongly, Tolena Yakubu is my maternal grandfather. Okay. They were the founders of the UP. But in growing up as a young person, independent, and began looking at the political history of this country, the more I read about the political history, the more I distanced myself from the cruelty of the Buza Dankwa tradition. And I was very convinced that, look, no one could be perfect. Yes, we may have some excesses of the June 4, but I still chose the June 4 against the disastrous leadership and political ideological positions of the Buza Dankwa tradition and the MPP. So it had some of us that, look, when we took a position against many members of our family, young persons who were still dependent on your family, look, I think that Rawlings, former President Rawlings, is the way to go. We need to believe in what he believes in, regardless what happens. So when you sit today and then you see him, somersaulting on the very principles that he stood for. Someone who was courageous enough to speak against ills in society. Today, those ills are not being spoken against. They are not only being, left to lie. They are actually being praised. There is no one in this country who, even the MPP themselves, would admit. Some of them have admitted that the woman could have done things better. Yet, this is a woman who is an MPP activist. Jane Mensah is an MPP activist. She's a niece to the First Lady. She was appointed to do the MPP's bidding. There is no question at all about that. Yet, our founder says nothing wrong with that. You know why it's happened? You are given some relevance. And you are saying that, what you are doing, continue to do it more. What you are doing is the best thing to do. Why? People are now struggling when there are palpable evidences that electoral officers are caught with registration materials. MPP activists and TESCON members are caught with registration materials. When they themselves admitted that, yes, people are engaged in those things they are investigating, the founder says, hey, an excellent woman, an excellent job. Perhaps we need to clap for our founder.
Comrade Ibrahim Mutalamohammed, well, that's one of the things that is interesting about you. Comrade.
What is interesting about me?
Sometimes when I'm sitting in the larger seat and I listen to, I'm like, wow.
No,
when you start, you start from the opposition, deal with your own party, and then carry everybody along.
I'm not honestly. You see, I remember, and let me tell you this, maybe for your viewing and the listening public. In 2006, when I contested the Tamale Central Parliamentary seat, when Professor Waiseni left the NDC and joined MPP.
You contested Tamale Central
in 2006.
Okay.
I was the youngest among, and then I was doing my second degree at KNUS. And I remember when we contested, and then after the elections, I lost. I supported the campaign. The founder came for the by-election. We had the meeting in the residence of Alhaji Ibrahim Adam, the former minister for Aʳgrɪly. And then there were some divisions within the NDC at that time. The then regional chairman of blessed memory, Alhaji Sumani Sofatugen, and the position taken by Honorable Ibrahim Adam and Co. Then former President Rawlings came to the house. And I remember, as the youngest among those who were sitting, I had the privileged opportunity to have sat in that meeting. I said, look, the party is not owned by any individual. I think that we must all understand that the NDC is bigger than. Look, former President Rawlings, maybe if he's watching and listening, he said what the young man said is what all of us should be saying. He himself, and he acknowledged. And now he entreated on that day, he said, look, I like people who speak their mind in correcting some of the ills identified in our party. These were his words. So today, if we think that certain things are happening in the party, we raise issues about them. Don't be surprised. Many people say, "Oh, Murtala sat on Radio Gold and lambasted the former president." No, I'm just pointing out to some of the things he says that is discomforting to those of us who were inspired to join the NDC and who still see him as someone who will inspire us. I still value that. So we don't need to be quiet when we feel that certain things he does are hurtful. We may be wrong, but we need to point out, look, founder, we think that these things are not helping the party because of ABCD. We are not saying don't point out wrongs within the party. That is not what we are saying. But where it is very clear that this electoral commissioner is messing up. Look, the woman is so incompetent that she takes refuge behind arrogance. She is not arrogant. She is incompetent. So she comes out with such posture to conceal her incompetence. Tell me one single thing this woman has done ever since she had the opportunity to serve as electoral commissioner through ways that are only known to Mr. Nanado and the NPP. She should tell us, someone should tell one positive thing, one thing she has done and got it right. If you take the year or so, registration, the voter turnout was the lowest in any by-elections ever in the history of this country. People pointed out to her. This is a woman who indeed, per the standard authority, it's the Ghana Statistical Service itself, projected that we should have about 1.7 million new registered voters. This is the state institution. Now the woman says no. She came out with 3 different figures. Initially she said 300,000 is being projected. Out of no blue. Perhaps she took some face the wall and then came out. Okay, she doesn't take face the wall. She takes X and other things. She came out and said, 500,000. Now from the 500,000, she moved to 700,000. She doesn't even know. She has no clue What is the projection? Why can't you project against the projection that was given by the Statistical Service? And in every year, every limited registration, the numbers keep on increasing because our population increases. Now the woman says, no, we are going to do it 300,000. No reason why the 300,000. She graduated from 300,000 to 500. No reason. From 500 to 700. No reason. In Obuasi, they have identified some young men who were having the machines, registering people, someone who is not supposed to be working with the Electoral Commission. Now, even in the eyes of even they themselves admitting that, look, certain things have gone wrong on some of the processes, our founder says, no, there is nothing wrong with what you are doing. Keep on doing it. You know why? The intention is to cause this disillusion within the NDC. So the MPP is jumping on that. The NPP is jumping on that. You listen to their communicators ever since that statement was, hey, your founder himself says there's nothing wrong with the woman. Your founder, that is our founder. So his statements gives some of those wrong some credibility and credulity that yes, your founder himself says this. And for me, that is frustrating, extremely frustrating. I think that perhaps he needs to take a second look at some of this. We are not saying don't criticize the NDC. I have criticized a lot of issues with the NDC because that is what he himself admonishes us to do. That is why we are a Congress. That is not what anybody is suggesting. What else? We have been hounded to opposition. We are in opposition. Even when we are in opposition, someone keep on hitting us. Let me just kill these people. To what end? On Good Morning Ghana, about 2 days today, you had one of the deputy ministers. He used all kinds of words against the founder. So when I was watching it, I was asking myself, can anyone defend him? You see, when you go to market and refuse to go with your village people with whom you came to the market, you abandon them. When the market ends, you would go home alone. Because you go with them from the same village to the market center and you decided to abandon them. Or you have found new friends. At the end of the day, when the market ends, everybody is going to his village. You would have to go alone. And I think that these are some of the things. Look, sometimes I feel for the daughter, the honorable member of parliament, who is doing an exceptional work. Sometimes I ask myself, this is a true NDC person. Of course, she's a member of parliament. Now, the father has taken a position, okay, which I believe she may not be comfortable with. And that is the father. She ought to respect the father. She ought to. Now, can she take a position that is against it, even genuinely, if she feels uncomfortable with it? So I think that, frankly, these things are extremely hurtful. For the mother, she has founded the former first lady. She has founded her own political party with the intention of getting the NDC to opposition. That is understandable, and she ought to be treated as someone who belongs to opposition. But the founder is still our founder. He's still the father of the party. We still value and cherish him as a founder. But we also have that responsibility to point out to him that some of these things are extremely discomforting, and we really don't think that it argues well for the party.
Of course, well, you said all this because of that meeting between the founder and Mrs. Jean Mensah, who is currently the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Now, you are currently gunning to take over from Alhaji Yunus Afuseni as the next member of parliament for Tamale Central. First of all, how is that going?
Inshallah, is going pretty good. And inshallah, I'm very convinced that I will win the primaries. And inshallah, win the elections.
There are those who say now that your party is now heavily influenced by money.
I have none. That's one thing. I mean, I have nothing. And those who know me too well will know that I don't have anything, frankly speaking. Even my house is not complete in Accra. That's one thing. I have seen people who in office less than 2 years as deputy ministers, they are building mansions left, right, and center. Because I said it, look, what we experience in this government is not just corruption, it's thievery. And they are there. You've seen people who in 2016 could not even rent rooms. They had to stay with family members. They are buying plots of lands in hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you wonder where they make those monies. I can't afford a plot of land at Airport Hills. Go there and find out what people are doing. If they can buy 4 plots of land, $250,000 each, ignorantly with their own names. So I'm saying that, look, I don't have
That's a serious issue you raise here.
Well, fine. I have just made a statement. I'm saying that we sit here. I mean,
you are saying a member of this government actually bought 4 plots of land, $250,000 each.
Have I said that? I said if you can find people who will go and do that. Have I said a member has done that?
So who did?
Well, maybe that's another day, another discussion. But it is very clear that people, the kinds of things they are engaged in this government. Look, I have said that President Kufuor was right when he said that corruption started from Adam. It may be true. The difference between President Kufuor, President Mills, President Rawlings, President Mohammed, and the current president is that President Nana Addo has perfected corruption. I mean, that is the difference. What we experience is an absolute example of a state capture in the financial sector, clearly. So I don't have it. The thing that I know, that the people of Tamale Central, is one of the elitist, if you like, constituencies in the north. You can't use money to influence anybody. So if anybody is planning to use money, that person would fail. The people know the kind of representation they want, they know. And I've said it, apart from Honorable Inus of Sene, no one has contested Tamale Central parliamentary primaries than me. I've contested it 2 times. No one has contested it.
So the area is not new to you?
No, it's not. I still live there, even when I was the MP for Tamale for Nantong. You see, when I contested with Honorable Inus of Sene in 2006, I was the youngest. I came 3rd. Now, when I lost the elections, I was the only person who stood up, congratulated him, followed him to his house, supported the campaign throughout. I never had any problem with him. In 2008, I was the only person who contested him. Keenly contest, very keen. He himself admitted that I stretched him. I was defeated marginally. I didn't have any malice, no offense. I congratulated him once again, followed him to his house, supported the campaign. Then when I lost to him, and then we lost, unfortunately, the Nantong seat. And that is where my father is coming from. My father hailed from both Zhang and Nantong.
Okay.
So I decided to go contest the Nantong seat. So when I went and contested the seat, and God's willing, we won. But you see, there is one thing I'll say for the first time. Many people ask me, saying, why haven't you remained in Nantong? And then you want to come to
Tamale Central. Yeah, I was going to put that.
My first response is that when I was leaving Tamale Central for Nantong, you people didn't ask me that. You didn't ask me why I was exercising that democratic right to choose where I want to contest. I abandoned Tamale. I left Tamale Central 2008 and 2012. I was going to Nantong. Nobody. And even those who are now making that noise, when I was going to contest that seat, the seat was in MPP hands. Nobody motivated, gave me a dime, encouraged me. They left me. I went there, won that seat. I didn't receive any praises. But I'll tell you, the constituency is divided into 4. We have 4 wards.
Okay.
And I'll say something.
Which one? Nantong.
Okay. We have Zhang. That is where I'm coming from. My father's from Zhang. We have Nantong. We have Tampion. We have Zhao.
Okay.
And those 4 wards are also sharply divided on Dagbang chieftaincy lines. That's a fact. That those who are listening and watching would attest to this. Zhang is considered as predominantly Abudu. Nantong is considered as predominantly Abudu. Tampion is considered as predominantly Andani. And Zogu is considered as predominantly Andani. But you have communities within those areas that you have Abudu and Andani intermixed. But these 4 big communities are considered that way. Now, in 1992, NDC won in Tampion, which is considered predominantly Andani, and one in Zhao Andani, but one in Zhang, which is also considered as Abudu. That's why I'm going. NDC won in 3. The only ward NDC or place NDC never won was Nantong. 1996, NDC won in these 3 again. So if you observe, 92, 96, the gap was too wide. 2000, NDC won again. But you see, 2004, NDC lost Zhang. You know the reason? The Yana was unfortunately murdered in 2002. So when that thing happened, Dagbang was no longer as it was. So Zhang, which consistently voted for NDC, moved from NDC to MPP. So from 2000, even though 2004 we won that seat, but the margin was not, it was too small.
Okay.
But we lost Zhang. So what it means is that from 2004, NDC could only win Tampion and Zhao, which are considered predominantly and then predominantly NDC. And MPP could win in Zhang and Nantong, which is considered predominantly Abudu, predominantly NPP. This is the hard fact that people may not be willing to state. But I'm just saying this because I've heard a lot of people questioning and why. Now, when this thing happened, it means that if there is a small problem in any of the two strongholds of NDC, that is the Tampion and Zogo. If there's any small problem, we don't take time, we'll lose the seat.
Okay.
Because we are now holding 2 wards, and MPP is holding 2 wards. Unfortunately, 2008, I wasn't contesting Nantong. Our MP, who was in Parliament for 16 years, lost the seat to MPP with a difference of 600 votes. And I know the reason why he lost. There was a problem in Tampion, and that problem was between the MP and the traditional leaders there.
Okay.
So some of the people voted against the MP. They voted for Prof. Mills in presidency and voted for a CPP candidate. They asked the guy to contest on the ticket of CPP. So in Tampion, the CPP candidate got over 800 votes. So these were votes that would have gone to NDC, because if you look at the presidential, they didn't vote for CPP presidential candidate. They voted for Prof. Mills, and the difference was that much. So the MPP man used 600 votes to win the elections. So if the people hadn't voted for the CPP candidate and they were to vote for a candidate, he would have won with a difference of 200.
Okay.
That was the beginning of the problem in the consensus. So we